I am looking over my cuttings just to check and see what's going on, and they are doing quite good. The one that's the grapevine doesn't seem to be doing so well. Um, I'm trying to root the cuttings, and it's still winter, so kind of hard to govern. How. Hey, thanks for the thumbs up. All right, it's hard to judge from a winter cutting of a grapevine, and I moistened them, and it's just I tried two different methods. So, oh, it's still doing good. These are green. These are still green, and so we're gonna keep those. Now, the paper that I put them in, here's what it looks like. Um, Wet newspaper, the old free papers you see on the corner, and good evening, sir. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. I love it. Beautiful. So my grapevines cuttings right now are doing quite well. My grapevine cuttings are doing well. This is beautiful. I'm trying to grow grapevines from a plant I bought 2 years ago, and it's still doing quite well in the garden, and I'm happy about that. But I'm trying to get some cuttings to do their thing, so I'm gonna keep at it. Um, and so that's good there. Now, the other plants are showing more progress. I'm going to show you some kiwi plants that I did, but I use a slightly different method, and both methods seem to be working. This one is just I went out into the yard. Hello, everybody, everybody. Let's see. Went out to the yard and I took these cuttings and I put those in this water. Just dropped them in the water and left them near a window, and that was it. Look at that. Now, if I get some of these plants out of here, keep in mind when I originally bought this plant, I paid $12 for less than what I have here, and now the plant's big and burly and it's growing outside, and it's just where I'm getting my cuttings from. But I have cuttings like this one here, and it's doing quite well. So we'll see if these root. We'll see if they root. And I think the clear sign by getting the green on top is a very good sign. And we did also some grapevines. Excuse me. These are what are these? The roses. Rose. I took some cuttings off of there because I said. And now this is not all my cuttings. I have some that are outside right now in the deepest cold, 30 degrees, stuck down in some peat moss. No, excuse me, in some sand and also some compost. Mix the two together, 60% sand, 40% uh, compost. Look at this. And they're doing quite well. So also outside is not showing this type of growth, but I'm hoping that I just get the roots. Once the roots start, I'm successful. I said I would grow some grapevines because I wasn't going to buy grapevines. I'm not paying $15 and $20 for a grapevine when I could do it free with cuttings. These are blackberries, and I really don't need these. I really don't need them because I have plenty of them outside. Maybe about 15 of them stuck in the sand outside, so they always do well. Plus, I got some that were tip rooted. If someone, you know what that means, when they touch the ground, they root. And so that's what I did. Um, this one here is kiwi. And you can see that they're green and they're going to do fine. Green, kiwi. Same cutting, same day taking, and everything, except in the water they're actually flower leafing out, and these are in a plastic bag, so they're doing quite well. I am also loving it, loving it. And do you know why, folks? Because anytime you can maximize the number of plants that you have from some existing plants, you're doing it right. And $0 is always a very good price. So that's what I like about it. Anytime you can do that, you're doing good. So I have that, and also I have some plants growing from, as I said, the pepper plants that I've brought indoors over winter. You got to try that. As long as you keep them not directly in front of a window, but just where they get some light, not just direct light, but just some light. You could do those by bringing them in and put them in containers and bring them in, and make sure you remove a majority of the leaves. Make sure you cut the plant back, and you should do quite fine with those. Peppers brought in. Hey, hey, how you doing there? All right now. I brought the plants in. Uh, they're doing quite well. They're mature plants, so I love that. Now, am I saving money? Absolutely. The kiwi plants, like I said, I only need two more kiwi plants, and this is a variety of kiwi plant that does not need a male and female. Doesn't need it. It just needs one plant. It'll produce fruit. I have one um, that is producing fruit now. I mean, excuse me, that's producing fruit every year. It produces fruit, and as it gets older, it's going to produce more and more fruit. Kiwi is a fruit that you can drop into a juicer and absolutely enjoy yourself. So I got everything planned out. The majority of the fruit. Oh, and there's a gentleman. God, I can't now. I just forgot his name. He's real good. God, the gentleman. Everybody knows him. He juices and he gives you tons of information. He also does a live show. I can't remember his name right at this moment. Just get my mind for a second there. But all of us know him, and we see him sitting in front of the camera, actually juicing. And I think that um, he got me into thinking that maybe I might need to buy a juicer, because if I could juice more, I think I would just feel better and all around just do better. That's it. Thank you. Food, forest, permaculture. Thank you. See, that's why I say two heads are better than one, because somebody knows something you may forgot, or you don't know. Now, why you said no juicer? I don't have a juicer myself. I don't have one, but I'm going to have one, and I think I'm gonna try to shop around it to see which one is the best one, because I don't want to buy one and it's not working right and it's not getting the maximum amount of juice. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, now I didn't know they waste nutrients. Well, I mean, I guess you put the fruit in, it you get rid of this. Oh, okay. A lot of the nutrients is in the skin. Oh, okay, you have one that you love. Okay. Wait so much. Now, okay, lead farmer is saying you waste so much, and come to think of it, the skin is where a lot of the nutrients are because that's the first thing the sun hits. This is interesting. Now you got to be careful now because we don't know what's going on with the inspections of the food we're getting now. So that's also another reason why a lot of people should amp up a lot of what they grow because we don't know. We've seen some of us for the first time in history where we always knew our food supply wasn't the safest. We knew that. Every year you hear someone dying from something, relating to our food quality or cleanliness of our food. And so when that happens, think about it when they're saying you have no one inspecting your food, or you may have someone. It's just all up in the air right now. So I made a promise that right now, as long as this government shutdown is taking place, I'm not going to be ordering meat, dairy, or any of that stuff. When I go to the grocery store, I'm not going to do it. I refuse to do it. And so I'm gonna leave that to somebody else because I mean dairy can get real sticky if they know they're not being inspected, and the meats are the same. You've seen those videos where they're cutting up cows and it falls on the floor, and then they just pick it up, or they cut it open and bust the bladder and let it runs all through the meat, and they still use it. You know, things like that. Now they're not being inspected. I also seen videos where you ever see these kind of they're like factories where they a butcher, they call it a slaughterhouse, but it's a factory, and machines do the work, and you'll see nobody on the floor, and everyone they just rolling these cows up through this little area where they just cut their heads off, and all the parts go from here to there, and it's just all done by machine. Oh my goodness! I just opened this up here, right there, and they are callousing up like crazy. Look at this right here. Oh, can you see that? That is a callus. Wow, it's swollen up, and it's because it wasn't the size when I put it out there. It's swollen up and it start to root, and I love it. All I did was go to the job, get some of those old newspapers that were a day old, come home, stick them down in an area, soak them, and once I soaked them, I went ahead and started using them as a little moisture retainer that goes in the bag. And so you wrap these tight like this. The key is wrapping them tight. The key is wrapping them tight. Beautiful. I love that. To see them all swollen up, they're getting ready to start rooting. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. I got 3 thumbs up. I appreciate it very much, everyone. Thank you very much. Yes. I figured I'd go online today because I haven't updated anything that people have been watching, and I'm trying to grow as much as I can indoors to give myself a jump because all of this stuff here, all this is going to go in pots and everything when the weather breaks. It's going to go in pots. It's going to be fertilized beautifully. They're going to grow beautifully, and I'm going to have a ball. Thank you. I will do a little research and try one. Uh, let's see. Let's see. Because everyone has okay, so you're going to try out a different juicer, or some information you're going to retain from it and see what's what. Let's see. Morning. Those look like roots on. Well, lead farmer, you're absolutely correct. That's what they are. They're. I looked at them very closely. They are roots getting ready to come out of those. Now, here's what I'm saying, folks. Here's what I'm saying. Do you imagine kiwi plants grow fast? I have one on my property, and I feel sad to say that. I have one kiwi plant that I bought a number of years ago that kept dying back, holding on, dying back. And I want to tell you something. It was because of what I was doing. I got the plant. I get busy. I get tied up in work, and the kiwi plant was just basically on its own. And so when that took place, I didn't really pay it any attention. I was too busy. Now the original plant died. The big plant that's out there now is from a cutting that was left in a pot somewhere, ignored, forgotten about everything. One day I looked in it, and the cutting was about, well, the growth on it was about that big. And I saw it and I recognized it. I said, that's the cutting I put in there. And I thought it was dead. So I left it alone. When it dried out, I'll give it a little water. Just a drink now, just a drink. And I kept doing that, and something happened. When it started growing out of vine, I kept it indoors because when it's real soft growth, for the first year, I said, do not put this plant outside because it's going to die back like the original one did. So leave it indoors. Once it started to get woody, which was I want to say after about a year, it got woody. And once that took place, I set it outside, put it in an area where the roots would not sit in water. That's crucial. And it started taking off. And all I put around it was compost, lots of compost. And I left it to its own device. And it kept growing, and it kept growing, and it got bigger. And then it started getting where I could wrap it around a 8-foot stick. And then after I wrapped around an 8-foot stick, it was pulling the 8-foot stick down. And then I put a ladder, which is a wooden ladder that would hold up to 300 pounds underneath of it. And I said, put this ladder here, let it grow all over that ladder. And that's what I did. Now it's taking over the ladder. Not completely, but it's taking over that ladder. Beautiful plant, beautiful. In the spring, you will see the darkest, greenest leaves, and it's pretty. The blossoms that it produces are beautiful blossoms, and then after about the second year, it starts producing fruit. Now, imagine this, if you will. It's called Isaiah. It doesn't need a male and female plant. Because I didn't want to get into those. The ones they sell at Home Depot and Lowe's, I don't know the names of those, but I do know that each time I try to buy one, the workers there did not know the males from the females, neither did I. And I said, don't do this because these plants are $15 a piece. And you could do what you've heard some of your listeners do, which is they would buy 2 males or 2 female plants and not know. And they could do a better job than that by marking the containers male or female, but they don't. So you get these plants, and plus these are the type that grow huge vines. Huge. I don't need them kind. Huge vines. I said, I don't want those kind. Those kind that grow up a telephone pole and engulf it. I don't want those types. This here grows a medium-sized bush. And all you have to do is clip it back. And you got to stay on it, but you clip it back in the spring and summer. And you'll do great. You'll do absolutely great. This kiwi plant has been producing well. And the information that pertains to this particular plant says that it produces up to about 100 pounds a year once it's an adult plant. This particular plant, beautiful. It grows well. No disease problems. No insect problems. None. And did I mention that it has the prettiest, darkest, greenest leaves you ever want to see? I love it. I love this plant, and I've had it for a long time. So if this pans out, I will have three of them. Now I could say put in four. Put in four plants, and I might do that because I have the room for it. I'm gonna see what it looks like on that wall. Why not put in four? So once you put these plants in, you now have a factory that produces kiwi. A small factory that produces kiwi. So you figure 100 pounds of plant, that's 400 pounds a year of kiwi that you can, no way you can eat all of that, but you can freeze it, you can pop it in your mouth, you could make juice out of it, you could give it away, you could, and they say that kiwi has 8 times the vitamin C than oranges, 8 times that amount. So kiwi is pure vitamin C and has some other nutrients, of course, that escape me at the moment. But I want to grow kiwi, and I have enough peaches. I have 5 peach trees, and so I'm doing good there. I have 5 cherry trees, and I'm saying, folks, amp up on what you got on your property. I mean, enough of growing them so they look pretty. You got a couple plants, got 1 apple tree, 2 apple trees, whatever. Grow some food because we saw something happen here. If you think about it, the government shut down. Your food isn't safe that you're eating, according to the report. And the problem that we're having right now is that we need to have more control over our food. We need that. It has to happen. And growing as much as you can, as quickly as you can, growing nutritional foods is very important. You should not be in a situation today, just my thinking, this is just my thinking, I don't want to push that on you. You should not be in a situation today where someone else has control over your food supply, complete control. If you got to grow stuff and store it, and grow stuff and eat it fresh in the spring and summer, but store it in the, in the winter, you need to have some control over your food. You need to have control. If fresh tomatoes, amen. That's what the lead farmer put down. Amen, because he knows what it's about. He knows what it's about. And my thinking has been that way for years, but the thing that got me was that it took me to now to start beefing it up. I had these things growing on my property. I had them growing. I had this stuff growing, and was saying, okay, 1 kiwi plant, couple stems of okra, um, couple plum trees. That's enough. Couple pear trees. Yeah, that's enough. No, I'm not doing that anymore. Now, blueberries, I could put more in, and I could do it right from cuttings. I can do it right from cuttings, right from the very plants I have on my property. I can do cuttings of blueberries. Blueberries are expensive. Why? Because they help you. Blackberries shot through the roof last year and this year. The price on those, you can't even get a handful for under $5. So I said, wait a minute. You bought one plant. This is me talking to myself. This is you. Bought a plant. That's what you did. You bought a plant 6 years ago for $2.79. And you've been hanging on to that 1 or 2 plants every year. 1, maybe 2, maybe 3. This year, I went around to all these plants. I grabbed these tip uh, these tipped plants, well, for lack of a better word, where they started another plant basically. I grabbed all those tip plants and I put them in the ground. Now I have 10 blackberry plants. 10. Now, I also took cuttings on shoots that were over 12 feet long, and I cut those up and I put them in flower pots that were outside. I stuck them in flower pots. I stuck them in the sand that's out there in my sand starter. And in fact, I'm going to increase my sand starter box simply by buying another box and doing a 60-40 mix. Playground sand and compost. My own homemade compost. I don't need to buy compost. Uh, or you can use common or whatever. And put you put those cuttings in there of any kind of cutting you want and start new plants. And your one of the important tools you have in your property is going to be that sand starter box. And I've had one for years, but I never really implemented it. I use it a couple times, make a rose bush, maybe make some kiwi plants. Um, but now I'm looking at it differently. I'm saying amp that up, make certain that you have the ability and the capacity to be able to start cuttings anytime you want. And if other people need cuttings, you can make that possible. So that's what I want to do. Now, grapevines. There's only one more grape I want. I do not have any um, red grapes. Don't have them. I have a Thompson seedless white. I have a Neptune white, which is supposed to be a large grape, supposed to go about that big, white grape. So that's what those cuttings are from, the ones I just showed you. And then I have a cutting outside. I think the one outside is going to do better. I just got a feeling that one outside, when the weather breaks and everything, it's going to bud out. And then once it bud out, it's going to have leaves, it's going to have roots on it. And then I'll have a second plant that I can take cuttings from. Hey, beautiful. Okay. I'm going to make certain that I have enough food on this property. I'm going to make certain of that. Now, Mr. Lead Farmer, I've seen some of your products. I looked um, uh, at your site. I looked at it. You have food on your property, and right here, Garden City Food Forest, you have food on your property. And I'm going to check out some of the others that are on here and see if they have the food definitely growing on their site. It's a beautiful thing when you can have that food growing. Just don't do it in the spring and in the summer. No, just don't do it like that. This is not a hobby, folks. This is a means of increasing your income because you spend a certain number of dollars each year on your grocery bill. And most of your money is spent if you do eat. Man, this is hot in here. Wow, it's hot, burning up in here. Wow, it is hot in here. Anyway, before I pass out, um, what I'm going to say here is that you want to grow as much as you can. You want to make certain that you have that food there. If you don't have that much soil to put it in, grow it in buckets, grow it in containers. Um, I tell everyone that grow it in containers, make certain. Um, so that's where we are right now. We saw the government shut down. We saw people start rumor around about they're going to cut food stamps off. They're going to cut what they call it. It helps people towards their rent. I don't remember the name of it right offhand, but I'm going back. Okay, so you're going, Mr. Lead Farmer, 73, is going back to farming basically full time. Basically full time. He's going back to, he's going to be wearing those those farming overalls to make sure you know he's about it. He's going to go into the ground and nourish it and make food grow from it. And that's what you want to do. Um, Section 8. Thank you. Thank you. Again, someone saved me. Thank you very much. Thank you. Um, Yeah, Section 8, you're talking about cutting that out. I don't know if it's going to be this month, coming up the end of this month, or it's going to be in, we don't know. We don't know. So I'm not going to speculate on that. But think about it. I am holding citizens' livelihood, and they didn't do anything wrong or incorrect. All they did was go to work each morning to have the American dream, to build a life, to take care of their children, to take care of their homes, to buy a home, to become a homeowner. One of the greatest dreams in America is to become a homeowner. And it really touched me when I saw this woman on the air. She said, I just bought my house and I won't be able to make my first mortgage payment because I just got no money coming in now. I said, oh my goodness. Then I looked at the leader of America, and he said that his people support him and they want him to do this. And they keep referring to, I don't want to go too far off base here. They keep referring to the wall as the only answer to security. And I noticed that. Even though, all you need to do to go is just, Mexico, they make a lot of ladders there. They just climb right over it, 30-foot wall, couple ladders welded together. I guess you could jump right over that wall. And that would be billions of dollars for no purpose at all. But I digress. But the thing about it is, when you start messing with people who inspect your food, again, priority. You have children, mothers, fathers eating food that may or may not be inspected. And, and we know that the food industry is about one thing. It's about producing money. It's not about producing food. People get that mixed up. It produces money, income, so they can lay on their lavish boats and in their hotels and meet pretty girls and enjoy themselves while they produce this meat, this factory that produces meat. And whether it's good meat or bad meat is not their call. If it's nutritional fruit and vegetables, that's not their call. All they want the fruit and vegetables to do is look good. They're not concerned about whether or not it has nutrition in it. I've bought too many pieces of fruit that look great in the grocery store. They had no nutritional value. When I grew up, fruit would sit up on a stand, peaches or apples or whatever they were. And now we got to go back a long ways now because I'm probably the oldest person in this room. I'm 55 years of age. They probably say, "Oh, I didn't know he was that old." No, let me stop. A lot of people knew, but the thing about it is the peaches that you could hand to your son or daughter were sweet, and the juices ran down their face and arm and everything while they were eating it. You can't get that now. It's not the same peach. It's not. The grapes, beautiful grapes, but back then they all had seeds in them. They all had seeds in them. And then they started saying, wait a minute, people would prefer grapes without seeds. And so they started doing whatever they do. And they created that. And then the seedless watermelon. And, when I tell kids, yeah, we see watermelon has plenty of seeds in it. Yeah, it was great. And watermelons weren't always just this big. They were like this. They were monster watermelons that would come in the house. And your biggest problem with the watermelon was getting it in the refrigerator. Okay, see, I did not know this about that because, that they're cutting back the school lunch programs um, because a lot of kids definitely do go to school hungry. I think I was one of them. And I know for a fact that it is a situation where um, your children can be very hungry, you know, and they go to school and they can't concentrate when they're like that. They're like, huh, what? Oh, my name, yeah, Matthew, you know. But yeah, you know, let me see. Yeah, you're absolutely right. The grocery store stuff is not like it once was. They don't intend for it to be that way. All they wanted to do is look good. Now, the other thing is how long it will last on the shelf. That's what they concentrate on. How long will it last on the shelf? That's all that matters. They make their money off of. Once you bought it and you go through the checkout line, they could care less whether the nutrition is there or not. Now, when you grow it on your own property, what's the difference from you growing it as opposed to the farmer, today's farmer growing it? Well, you have no idea where it came from. You have no idea what they're growing it with. Now, something that I thought was very shocking, it showed in China, they were growing vegetables with trash. Let me say that again. They were growing vegetables with trash. Now, the trash came from a landfill, and they would spread this stuff on the ground, and the camera panned around, and you saw, when you order your lunch at work, those styrofoam containers, they were in there. Old rusty AA batteries were in the trash, and they showed that purposely so that it would get your attention. But in China, yeah, the government allows them to produce food in this manner because of the cost of fertilizer. So they allow them to do what they think works. They interviewed a woman who worked or owned that farm, and she said, in her own language, she said, "I have been eating this food for years, and I am not sick." That's what she said. That was her answer to that. So um, they showed another woman that was growing massive amounts of food, and she tilled the ground, and she had a pump that was located near a sewer, and she was pumping the sewer water up onto her property. Excuse me, I can't get over that. She was pumping this black water up onto her property, and all over the ground she was pumping this water. And I looked at this and said, "Oh my God, she's pumping anything and everything that's in that sewer onto the ground and using it as a fertilizer." Creative, but very dangerous. Right, okay. In Africa, we talked about this a few weeks ago. They use a process called micro dosing. Micro dosing, because again, in Africa, a bag of fertilizer is extremely expensive. So they use what they call microdosing, and it's the process of digging a small indentation in the ground, which is like a hole with a little small ditch, about the size of your foot, and the soil was dry, and there was very little, if any, rainfall on it. It was just dry like the desert. It was hard as a rock. The soil was, and in the hole they put this organic matter in there, which is just weeds and growth from different locations, and they brought it there and they put it in the hole and they leave it there for a few days. And when the wind blows around, it collects. They said it collects sand and and dirt and whatever else in the hole. And then when the time comes to plant, they put two seeds in there, and they put a small amount of fertilizer, which you spill more than that when you using fertilizer. They use so little fertilizer, uh, but they say they get a better return because they're not feeding all the competition around the around on the property or the grounds. The weeds, they're not feeding the weeds. They're just feeding the plant they want to feed. And they swear that this produces more food. We will find out this year. You ain't heard it from me. I'm not one to gossip, but I'm going to do it this year. So on that note, I'm just doing a little invitation to Miss Jenkins. Some of y'all might remember that from In Living Color. Let's see. But but okay. But they use this process. There's a plant that I can't call the name of right now, but this plant wraps itself around their cereal plant, and kills uh, uh, it kills their plant that they intend to use as food. Um, so that being said, they said just feed the plant we want. So they took their fertilizer use down from, let's say, 80 pounds down to a quarter of that, and that's how. And they say, and they get the same result, if not better, by just using that method. So I love that. And so that's my deal on that. I mean, I think they're going to use that to make certain that they uh, definitely take care of the fact that they need food. But here in the U.S., we sprinkle a lot of fertilizer around our plants. A lot of it, we do. Oh, if I put more, it'll grow better. It'll grow better. That's the same with that kind of thinking. If somebody put a turkey in front of you, a ham in front of you, a full size watermelon, also a big bowl of pasta, a gallon of ice cream, you're going to eat, but you're not going to eat that much. And the rest of it's going to go to waste. Plants can only eat what they can eat. They can't eat everything at one time. So these micro dosing really is a situation where you just put enough down for the plant to eat. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, Miss Jenkins. But absolutely, they come back around. Absolutely. Because when you think about this for a second, when you sprinkle all, because farmers used to do it notoriously back in the day. Some of them still do. When you take fertilizer and you sprinkle all that stuff all over the ground, all of it everywhere, all over the ground, you are feeding your plant, the weeds and everything. You're feeding them. And if the weeds get the fertilizer, they're going to outcompete your plants because they come from that. That's their neighborhood. That's their stomping ground. They're going to outcompete your plants. Plants that you put in there is man-made plants anyway, and they're weak and gentle, and that's why you got to be so caring with them because that's how they are. You take a weed, I guarantee you take a weed, stick it in the ground, walk away, it'll take care of itself. When the rain comes, when the sun comes out, whatever, the weed gonna take care of itself. It's not gonna even need you to do anything. Why? Because a weed is a tough son of a gun. A weed is tough. A weed is tough, and that's why a weed will survive. On that note, I got something I want to show you here. Just hold tight for a second. Oh, thank you. Some of you for staying tuned. A couple of you said, I'm out of here. But here's what's going on. I'm this right here, this plant you might not recognize. I'm messing around with this, folks. Um, I put some seeds in a cold location in my greenhouse. Didn't cut the heat on, didn't do none of that. These are, and this right here, you might not recognize, these are Rudy. It is the Rudy. And I almost dropped it. That would have been funny. Uh, but uh, but the thing about it is, this is Swiss chard. This is Swiss chard, and Swiss chard. I'm thinking about doing some spinach as well. Well, why not? Why not do some spinach, do some mustard, whatever. Get this stuff ready to go. I'm doing this now because I'm like, I don't want to cut. I don't want to cut all the heat on and be burning all this electricity for these type of plants here because they're okay, but they're not my favorites, but they're okay. That is Swiss chard. This is Swiss chard. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful plants. You see that right there? Yep. So that being said, is that I'm trying to grow a little bit right now, and then as these get bigger and stronger, and the weather's getting ready to start doing something now because we're getting colder, but we get ready to zoom right back out of this and start getting into the spring and summer. So I did everything I could do, my shopping. Let me, I bought something while I was at the store, which well, I can't bring it up here because it's actually a shovel, a spade. It's very cylindrical up front, and it's about 12 inches deep. Now, the reason why I bought this shovel is because, ladies and gentlemen, my shovel digs too big a hole. Okay, so what I'm gonna use is that I'm gonna use the fork to loosen the soil. I've talked about that before. How I used it. I put the chimes all the way down in the ground, and they about 8 inches deep, and I rock it back, and I go 4 inches back from that, or 2 inches, and I rock it back. So all I'm doing is letting air in the soil. That's what I'm doing, letting air in the soil. Now, once I do that, I'm going to dig my hole, which is going to be a smaller hole. Now, the smaller hole will be approximately about that big. I will put my ingredients in that hole that I choose to put in there. You put what you want in there. I'm using fish heads, and hopefully I'll be able to get enough that I need. But I'm going to put them in there. Once I put these fish heads in there, I'm going to set the plant right on top of it, and bam! These plants are going to go crazy. These plants are going to go absolutely crazy. Plants like this, you should see what these look like when they full grown. This is Swiss chard. Grows the biggest leaf you ever want to see. And all you have to do, what kind of shovel did you? It's just a spade. I don't know any other name for it other than a spade, but it's about I want to say about 12, 13 inches deep, and I never had one like this before. I bought it at where'd I go to get that? At uh, at Home Depot because the only ones they had at Lowe's was 35 and almost $40. I'm not paying that for those shovels. I work in a garden. I'm not working in a professional environment where this shovel's going to be abused and used every day and really dropped and kicked around and all that. No, this shovel has the same wooden handle. It has studs through it to hold it together. It's got a 3-year warranty on it. It'll be fine. And I already looked at it and say, I'm gonna get my return from the shovel. The shovel gonna pay for itself. I'm gonna get my return from it. So that's where we are. Grow your food. Grow your food. Grow your food. That's what we're gonna do. We're not gonna depend solely on grocery stores anymore. The old days, that's how we did it. Yeah, that's not bad. 3-year warranty on it. It's a heavy shovel. For what I'm using it for, this shovel is heavy. It's a short handle shovel. Um, and like I said, I bought it at Home Depot. It's green handle. You'll see it there if you go there and look for it. And what did I say? I paid about $25 for it. Not bad, not bad. And it will allow me to fill that hole up. But think about that. If you drop some fish down in that hole, put Mother Earth on top of it, or put some compost in there with it. I don't care what goes in there. Compost, fish heads, whatever. and put all that stuff in there, and then the plant gonna act crazy, and the food's gonna taste great because once you up the biology in that soil in that location, because remember when you put think about this for a second, when you put food in a location, everything comes to that location to eat. They live, they die, they party, they reproduce, and everything right there. And so they're leaving all this this life right in that soil. And guess what? Your plant sits right on top of it. And when it dies off, when your plant gets the water from the rain, or when you're watering it, it turns it into a soupy dessert for your plant, a dinner, or whatever you want to call it. And your plant just simply drinks it in because your plant actually drinks in its food. It does not eat hard, granulated things. It eats food that worms have digest, biology in the soil is digest. It eats the biology itself that died in the soil, and then another form of biology eats it, and then another form of biology eats them, and then another form of biology eats them. And so it's crazy. But I love it because you bring life into your soil, you produce the soil. I told you many times before, and a lot of you already know this. The key to the kingdom is this: you're not feeding your plant, you're feeding your soil. You're feeding your soil. And if you put the right types of food in that location, then what will happen is that your plant will get the right amount of nutrients or the right type of nutrients. And that's how that works. You get Swiss chard, you get it the right food in, guess what? Swiss chard is going to show you something. It's going to grow a big, beautiful plant, and it's going to keep coming back, keep coming. And you're going to say, wow, this is nice. I like this. And that's what you want. You do not need necessarily to go to a box store and buy fertilizer. Now, if you find, okay, this here, I'm not advertising the brand. In fact, I can keep that close. But this is a box of fertilizer. This is a water soluble type fertilizer. But this right here, let's talk here. That fertilizer was selling for $7 a box. And I'm guilty. When they put the price tag on there of 60 cents marked down, absolutely I bought it. I'm guilty. 60 cents from $7? Yeah. I'm not going there buying $7 to $8 bags of fertilizer, dime, $15 bags of fertilizer. No, I'm not doing that. And that's how that works. Folks, you can make it happen. And keep in mind, grow as much as you can, grow food often, and keep learning each year, to get better. And also keep in mind that the weather is going to be a factor, folks. Do not have in your mind this spring is going to be beautiful, the sun's going to be up, oh, it's going to be great, it's not going to be too hot, it's not going to be too much rain, it's just going to be perfect. No, it's not. Something's going to be thrown our way like we've been getting for the last few years. The weather is definitely a factor. So we keep that in mind so we can adapt our growing techniques. So let's say if you got a plants that you say, I don't know if I want to do it in ground this year. I think I want to put it in containers because last year it rained so much that you couldn't even get into the yard. So keep that in mind. That's what we got this year. Double digging method. That's bringing the subsoil up to the top so that it can become topsoil. And topsoil goes in the area location where there was once subsoil. Interesting. It's good. Everybody got their own techniques. Everybody has their own techniques. Mine is this: chop and drop, chop and drop. That's my little song there. Because I mean, I'm out there cheating like I don't know what. I'm taking weeds and grass clippings and making fertilizer, and that's what I'm doing. And I'm not. At first, I wasn't keen on the idea until I saw the results. Big tomatoes, big cucumbers, and I'm thinking, wait a minute. I'm taking the weeds, cutting them down now, putting them around the plant as mulch, putting them around the plant as mulch. So when the sun hit them, it dries them out. They look just like hay around the plant base. And when it rains, they get moist and they keep the water right there around the plant. Oh, come on, folks. This is how you do this thing. And then the other thing I do is I pull up weeds. They have like big bold leaves and they have a deep, deep tap root. Because I have some out there like that. I use those. I use them. What I do to them is I pull these big leaves, and these leaves are big as my head. And I got a big head, folks. But I use these leaves, put them in that plastic 32-gallon trash receptacle. It's never been used for trash. And I put them in there about quarter of the way and rainwater it all the way up. And then I might put some compost in there or some cow manure. Come on, folks. That's fertilizer. That's fertilizer. It'll grow a limb back. And so I take this. I don't have it in front of me right now. I put it in a milk jug. 1 part of that super tea and 9 parts rainwater. That's how I do it. And it'll grow anything. It won't burn anything. It won't do anything. You can put it around fruit trees. You can put it around vegetables. You can put it around fruit plants like raspberries and all that, and it will grow the heck out of them. Folks, this has been The Morning Gardener. And I enjoyed another day with you. And the highest numbers I got this time around, it's a record, folks. This is a record. I want to thank each and every one of you. 15 viewers is a record for me. I'm happy to get what I get because I know this is a tough, site to survive on, which is YouTube. But I do know one thing: people are tuning in because they like the information that I'm giving them, and I'm going to keep giving you information that is true to the core and that I know for a fact works. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. This is The Morning Gardener. Have a good day. Thank you very much.